Welcome back to another video. Bradford City draw 1-1 against Stockport County. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. A big draw in the context before the game. Would you take a draw against Stockport County away from home? A team that will be up there come the end of the season. Yes, I'll bite your hand off for it. When you look at the game and how the game went, the first half I thought we were in control. Thought we were much the better side, although they caused us problems on the counter-attack with our high line. I said it against Colchester, the defensive line was all over the place Saturday. It will be again Tuesday. They're trying to understand each other, but when you look at the players that they had in the forward areas, you look at Evans, you look at Louis Barry, even Paddy Madden to some extent, when they were running 1-on-1, 1v2 at our defenders, they were running back, they looked like headless chickens, they didn't know what to do, and they were making mistakes all over the place. Whereas in the second half, and I'll get onto the second half performance in a bit, the defensive line was a much more compact line where we didn't really go out a lot because we were much deeper and we were getting protected by Smallwood and McDonald, and then the wing backs were tracking back with the midfielders. We weren't as open because we were trying to keep it tight. That didn't work. And why didn't it work? Because you can't defend like that in 2023. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, as far as you want to go back, you can do that. You can bring on McDonald in midfield, you can go two big lads in defensive midfield, you can bring all your players back behind the ball, you can go with some big lads at the back, and you can see how to lead by being compact and not giving anything away. In modern football, you will give big chances away. Paddy Madden had one on the line, he had some big chances from set pieces by carving them out, by pushing us further back, and they were just carving out some really good opportunities. If they had a Carl Wotton, if they had I say if they had Andy Cook, I'll get onto him as well, but if they were a bit more clinical, they could have won that game 2-3, maybe 4-1, because they were much the better side. And the problem was, I said against Colchester, if we do that in the last half an hour of the game, 20 minutes, against the better side, they will find a goal from somewhere. And obviously Stockport did. And, the goal, it wasn't a good goal. Like I said, they were just putting pressure on us. Well, we were putting pressure on ourselves, let's be honest. And the winner corner, the keeper saves it, and no one reacts quicker than Oliver, who taps it in. And that was just sort of the way the game was going. We knew it were coming, and Stockport, to be fair to them, they kept probing. You've got to give the praise to Stockport for it, but you've also got to criticise us as much, because when you put pressure on yourself for half an hour, you can't just sit back on that lead, and Mark Hughes has got some serious answering to do. And I hope someone questions him on it, because we did it against Colchester, we got lucky. We were going to do it against Stockport, we nearly got lucky. You can't keep doing it, you'll get results, but there won't be the results you want, and it will hold us back in the season. So I hope we move away from that, but we won't, because we're now stubborn Mark Hughes is. When McDonald came on for Odra, I knew it was going to happen. Around 70th minute mark, I was quite comfortable with it, but when we did that, I could see a goal coming, and then when they get that goal back, how are we going to score when our most attack-minded player has gone off, who were creating the most chances, and the most dangerous player who they were scared of has gone off? That creativity, that lethal player in the final third has gone off. There's no options then, and they brought on Osadebi. He didn't do all. He was just as poor. Every game he comes on and he's just as worse as the last time. There's no improvement to him, and I don't see the point of bringing Osadebi on anymore, because he comes on and just constantly makes mistakes. Whether it's kicking the ball out for a four, kicking it against his other foot, volleying it against Brad Halliday on Saturday, he's just got a bundle of mistakes on him. So I'm not completely convinced about Osadebi at the minute, but one player I am is Alex Patterson, and I'll get into him on my player ratings. I'll do that in a minute. Let me know yours in the community tab. Player ratings: Harry Lewis gets a out of 5 as well, 5 being the best, 3 being the average, 1 being the worst. I'm going to give him a 2. I don't think he was terrific, I don't think he was poor, I just think he was somewhere in between, but he was below the average score for me. I don't think you can fully blame him for the goal. Some will. I think he could have got a bit more of a stronger parry on it, a weak save from him, and he could have cleared it out of danger a bit better, or claimed it, and it went straight to a fillet. In terms of the actual game, I thought it was weak in terms of coming through the crosses, whether that was confidence. On the ball, I think he was much improved, but still there's a bit of tension when he's got the ball. And to be honest, it looks to be a bundle of nerves. I don't know what's going on with Harry Lewis. I hope he can somehow pick it back up, but there's something not right, unfortunately. Moving on into back three, then Matty Platt gets a 2 as well. I thought he were poor, definitely the weakest out of the 3 centre backs for me. I've really liked Matty Platt, steady Eddie throughout his time, but also when I were observing the back three, because I want to know what's gone wrong. I want to know what the problem is with the back three. The defensive line's all over the place, and who's the weakest link out of that three. For me, Kelly offers something a bit different with a left-footed style of play, that he can bring the ball into the forward areas, and he put in a brilliant cross that nearly caused the goal in the first half through Gilead's play on the left side. And I like that he's left-footed and he's quite strong, although very rash. And then Stubbs is the communicator, he's very good on the ball. And then Matty Platt, I struggle to see what he offers, apart from he barely makes mistakes, whereas in this game, nearly give a penalty away, really poor on the ball, and sometimes I don't really notice it, but today I did. And when players were running at him, it looked like he was scared of them, and they were always tracking back. So I wasn't a fan of Matty Platt's performance, so I'm going to give him a 2. Stubbs, I'm going to give him a 3. Like I say, I was very pleased with him on the ball. Had a good performance at the back. And Kelly, I'm going to give him a 2 because I thought he was, first half I'd probably give him a 4. Really good on the ball, breaking into a final third, and didn't seem to be too fazed by the problems that were coming down his side compared to the problems coming down Platt's side. However, in the second half, he looked really dodgy. He looked really poor in the air considering his size. We're getting done on that side, getting doubled up, and he did look really poor, and it looked like all his weaknesses, he was just getting completely exposed. Gilead, I will give him a rating because he did play 45 minutes, same with Rideout. Gilead, I'm going to give him a 3. First half, going forward, I thought he's got a lot of criticism, and I actually liked his first half performance going forward because I thought he gave us a balance on that left side, and whilst you want him to put a cross in, cutting back on his right foot, it helped us retain the ball. We had a spell before the half ended, 30 minutes to 40 minutes, where we were really dominant and we're passing the ball really well. That were down to Gilead's retention of the ball. Defensively, he did look vulnerable, picked up the yellow card, and I do think it was tactical why he came off, because we were going to defend a lot more in the second half, and that's why I brought Ryder on, who I would just give a 3. I didn't really notice him too much, although he did lose his man in Oliver Cranshaw towards the back end of the game, where he made a run into a penalty box and tried looping it over Lewis, but it went over the bar. But into midfield, Small gets a 4, contender for man of match for me. I thought he was superb throughout the game. Unlucky to be brought off because McDonald came on. Shielded the back 3 really well. It was mainly in the second half when we were deeper, but in the first half I didn't really notice him too much because of how well he was shielding the back 5. And you don't want to notice your defensive midfielder because it means he's doing well. And second half he drove into the final third a bit more, and I like the partnership for his forming with Patterson. When Patterson goes forward, Smallwood stays back. When Small goes forward, Patterson stays back. That's got the making of a real good, solid midfield too. And then Patterson, he got the goal. Really good game from him, and for me he is the man of match. Not just because he scored, he won the penalty. He was making ones beyond Cook, making a really good partnership with Smallwood, getting back and defending. He was communicating. When he was angry, he made players notice. When the players did well, always there to be clapping them. And I like that from a midfielder. All action, and for me, he's probably easily top 5 signings in the league at this moment in time. And I'd be really surprised if he don't get 10 goals and somewhere near that in assists as well. He will be the difference. I've already said that. But a great game from him again. Clark Odra, I'd probably give him a 4. I thought before he came off he was influential. One interesting thing I saw was when we didn't have the ball, Odra was playing as the striker. Cook and Smith were more as the wide forwards. I like that because in Colchester you saw that Cook were a bit leggy, couldn't really press, and then that wasn't effective. Whereas when Odra was playing as a central striker, he has that pace, he has that extra burn, so he can get on players and put pressure on, and we did get a lot of luck through that. I just remembered the goal as well because I didn't really explain that from Patterson. Great play from Smallwood. First to react. What you want from your midfielders is to have the vision to understand what's happening before it's happened. And he read where the ball was going. First touch pass, straight into Cook. Terrible touch, but he found Patterson. He got the goal. But moving on from that, Odra had a good game. And next Saturday, really excited to see what he can produce because there's no sign of him regressing. Andy Cook, I think he's got to get a 1, and I don't like that. I love Andy Cook, I love him as a human being. You know, when you see his interviews, he looks like a player that's really down on confidence. He looks really sloppy in his play. Now, overall, but when you take away his final third action, he was quite good for us. He held the ball up well, interchanged with Smith and Dodra, and connected really well with them. But in the final third, you've got to look at the penalty miss. No conviction, like I already said. Then the one-on-one with Hinchcliffe, terrible first touch, and you just last season you knew he were going to score that chance. This season, there's something missing with him, and I said against Colchester, there's something lacking. He missed a couple of big chances in that one, or at least good chances in that one, and I can't put a finger on it. I don't know if it's mentality, I don't know if it's ability, but it's not the Andy Cook we knew from last season, and I want that Cookie back. But there's no one else who could take his position. Oliver's injured, Derbyshire's not up to it. Smith could play up front on his own, but then you're missing out that creativity, and there's no one who can replace Smith. We're really light in the forward areas, so I still think we definitely need a striker to come in who can play as that number 10 like Smith, and we definitely need a left wing back, because Gilliard's not good enough defensively in that role, and Liam Rydell's just not good enough at all. So we still have a lot of business to do, and you could even say we need a centre back because Hughes doesn't trust Odesina. So we'll see what happens. I've just realised I've forgot to mention Oyegoke. Now, easily forgettable in his game. Terrible game. I've got to give him a 1. Defensively all over the place. Didn't know what a tackle was. Easily bypassed. Really weak on and off the ball. And then going forward he produced absolutely nothing. So there was no point in playing him. Definitely bring Halliday back in on Saturday, because at least he is solid. He's an all-rounded wing back. He gets a bit of criticism, but I think that's just because he's in the Rydell category for no unknown reason. And last season, for me, easily in the top 3 players that we had. Very, very underrated, Brad Halliday. When you compare him to Oyegoke couldn't lace his boots, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. A good point. Now, it does seem like a bit of a rant. I don't want it to seem like that. I do feel like we've got to take the positive. Give me that point before the game, I take it. But you've got to underline the negatives, and Mark Hughes definitely is one. You've got to be a bit more. You've got to go for it a bit more. You should be going for 2-0, 3-0, and take the game away from them. Then play like that. But we're not. You can't sit on a 1-0. That's on Mark Hughes. The team selections are on Mark Hughes, of course. We've got to pick up Saturday, and if I see us go 1-0 up again and lose the lead, or go 1-0 up and then sit back like we did tonight and Saturday, I'll be hugely disappointed in Mark Hughes. And questions have got to be asked then. But we've got to bring in a player before then as well, whether it's a left wing back, whether it's a striker. We've still got business to be done from now to the deadline day, which is the end of August. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new. Have a good one.